A rupture across the border has sent shockwaves through North America, shaking the very foundation of a relationship that has long been considered unbreakable. The new North American trade standoff is upon us, and its effects are rippling far beyond the border itself. The world's longest undefended border, once a symbol of peaceful partnership and economic cooperation, has now become the front line of a bitter and unpredictable trade war. The United States and Canada, two nations bound not just by geography but by decades of shared history, find themselves locked in an escalating conflict that neither side seems willing to back down from. This isn't just a regional squabble. It's a fundamental clash of economic nationalisms, with each country determined to protect its own interests, even if it means risking the stability of the entire continent. The consequences are global, as markets react and investors grow wary. As supply chains buckle under the strain of new tariffs and restrictions, the stability of the North American economic bloc is being tested like never before. Delays at ports and shortages on store shelves are becoming the new normal, affecting businesses and families on both sides of the border. The U.S. Canada trade relationship is one of the largest and most complex on the planet, built on decades of trust, cooperation, and mutual benefit. It is a web of industries, supply chains, and livelihoods that stretches from coast to coast. Every day, billions of dollars in goods and services flow between the two nations, supporting millions of jobs in manufacturing, agriculture, technology, and retail. From auto parts to fresh produce, the interconnectedness is staggering. When this relationship fractures, the impact is immediate and severe. Workers face layoffs, factories close their doors, and consumers are hit with higher prices and fewer choices. The ripple effects are felt in small towns and big cities alike, as uncertainty grows. The world is watching closely because what happens here could set the precedent for international relations everywhere. As leaders on both sides weigh their next moves, the stakes could not be higher, for North America and for the global economy. An alliance under strain, shaped by both cooperation and conflict, has defined the relationship between the United States and Canada for generations. The story of their economic partnership is one of shared prosperity, but also of recurring disputes and delicate diplomacy, a history of trade and tensions that stretches back to the earliest days of cross-border commerce. Over more than a century, the economic bond between the United States and Canada has grown into one of the world's most significant trading relationships. Every day, billions of dollars in goods and services flow across their shared border, supporting millions of jobs and fueling growth on both sides. The signing of the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement in 1989 marked a turning point, laying the groundwork for even deeper integration. This agreement later evolved into the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, and eventually the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, known as the USMCA, which further solidified the partnership. These agreements enabled the creation of highly efficient, continent-wide supply chains, allowing companies to source materials and manufacture products seamlessly across borders. Automobiles, electronics, and agricultural goods all became part of a tightly woven economic fabric. Yet despite this remarkable integration, the relationship has never been entirely free of friction. Periodic disputes have tested the resilience of this partnership, sometimes threatening to unravel years of progress. Contentious issues like softwood lumber, dairy quotas, and agricultural subsidies have sparked heated debates and even led to tariffs, with each side defending its own industries and workers. The arrival of President Donald Trump in the White House marked a dramatic shift in tone. His administration's America First doctrine upended decades of established trade policy, casting doubt on the very foundations of North American economic cooperation. By challenging the logic of NAFTA and demanding sweeping changes, the Trump administration forced both countries to reconsider the terms of their partnership, leading to tense negotiations and uncertainty for businesses and workers alike. Today's showdown is not an isolated event, but rather the culmination of years of eroding trust, shifting priorities, and unresolved grievances. As both nations navigate this new era, the future of their alliance hangs in the balance, shaped by the lessons and the scars of their shared history. The pugilists Trump and Carney take center stage. At the heart of this escalating trade war are two formidable figures, Donald Trump and Mark Carney. Trump's approach to trade is transactional and confrontational, viewing commerce as a zero-sum game. He believes free trade agreements have hollowed out the American industrial base. On the other side stands Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, with a background in global finance. Carney is known for his measured, analytical approach and focus on long-term issues. Faced with Trump's aggressive trade posture, Carney has revealed a pragmatic and assertive side. His response combines retaliatory tariffs with a comprehensive industrial strategy. Carney is attempting to re-engineer Canada's economic trajectory, making him a determined adversary for Trump. The tariff barrage. Trump's economic onslaught begins with a series of punishing tariffs. These are sector-specific and designed for maximum impact, targeting Canada's industrial economy. A 50% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum strikes at a foundational industry. The ripple effects are felt throughout the construction and manufacturing sectors. A 25% tariff on automotive products disrupts the integrated supply chain. The U.S. has also ended its de minimis exemption for Canadian goods. This action is a significant blow to the burgeoning e-commerce sector. The Trump administration has moved to end its own electric vehicle incentives. The U.S. is reshaping market demand, creating a multi-front economic assault. In response to Washington's economic offensive, Carney's government has launched a bold defensive strategy. The centerpiece is a protectionist Buy Canadian industrial policy. New procurement rules are being fast-tracked to build a more self-reliant industrial base. Ottawa has established a $1 billion Canadian strategic response fund. This fund provides financial assistance to businesses impacted by the trade dispute. Carney's government has rolled out targeted support for small and medium-sized enterprises. The Canadian response extends beyond businesses to workers caught in the crossfire. A surprising casualty of the trade war has been Canada's climate agenda. Carney announced a delay in the national electric vehicle sales mandate. The U.S. tariffs on the auto sector put extreme pressure on Canadian manufacturers. Carney's pivot is a pragmatic recognition of economic reality over green ambition. In place of the green vehicle push, Carney has announced a pivot towards fossil fuels. The government is fast-tracking infrastructure projects to expand natural gas export capacity. This strategic shift is a high-stakes gamble on global energy needs. Carney is positioning Canada to become a significant player in global LNG markets. This move could provide a substantial economic boost. The real-world consequences of this trade showdown are being felt across the Canadian economy. Canadian unemployment figures have been climbing, reflecting real job losses. The manufacturing and transportation industries have borne the brunt of the layoffs. Canada's steel sector experienced a 30% drop in production. The auto sector faces an existential threat due to tariffs on parts and vehicles. Carney's announcement of natural gas infrastructure expansion caused a market shift. The Canadian dollar rallied and energy stocks surged. Analysts see potential in Carney's bet on energy as a path to future growth. The conflict has forced Canada into a potentially transformative economic realignment. Expert analysis highlights the immense risks and potential rewards of the strategies by Trump and Carney. Both leaders are taking bold, unprecedented steps that could reshape the economic future of the continent. Their decisions are being scrutinized by economists, business leaders, and policymakers across North America, all of whom recognize that the stakes have never been higher. The world is watching closely, aware that the ripple effects could extend far beyond the region. This is not a minor trade spat, but a fundamental reordering of the North American economic landscape. Trade routes, supply chains, and investment flows are all being reimagined in real time. The volatility in the stock markets reflects the uncertainty and anxiety felt by investors and businesses, who are trying to anticipate what the new rules of engagement will look like. Analysts worry that this escalation could spiral out of control. If negotiations break down, the consequences could be severe, ranging from job losses to a prolonged economic downturn. The headlines capture the sense of urgency and the fear that the situation could deteriorate rapidly, impacting millions of lives. Laura Dawson describes Carney's plan as a bold bet on North American energy integration. She points out that this approach could unlock new opportunities for collaboration and growth, but it also carries significant risks if the political climate shifts or if key stakeholders fail to cooperate. Canada is trying to build a new partnership in energy while fighting a manufacturing war. The country is investing heavily in its energy sector, hoping to leverage its natural resources to gain a competitive edge. At the same time, Canadian manufacturers are under pressure, facing new tariffs and shifting market dynamics that threaten their survival. Energy economist Peter Tertzakian sees this as a turning point for Canada's role in global LNG markets. He believes that if Canada can seize this moment, it could become a major player in supplying clean energy to the world. However, he cautions that success will depend on swift action and the ability to navigate complex regulatory and geopolitical challenges. The crisis has created political will to push energy projects forward. Governments are moving quickly to approve new infrastructure, streamline regulations, and attract investment. There is a sense of urgency as leaders recognize that the window of opportunity may be brief. The expert commentary paints a picture of a high-stakes geopolitical chess match. Every move is calculated, with both sides weighing the risks and rewards. The outcome is uncertain and the tension is palpable as leaders try to outmaneuver each other on the world stage. The outcome will define the future of the U.S. Canada relationship. Whether it leads to greater cooperation or deeper divisions, the decisions made now will shape the economic and political landscape of North America for years to come. As the dust settles, the path forward for the U.S. and Canada is shrouded in uncertainty. The long-standing partnership has been fundamentally altered. We have moved into an era of strategic divergence. The Buy Canadian policy and pivot to natural gas are foundational elements of a new Canadian economic identity. This is a story that is far from over. It is an unwritten chapter in a critical relationship. The stakes could not be higher for workers in the auto and steel industries. The conflict is forcing a profound reevaluation of national priorities. The choices made today will have consequences that echo for a generation. The future of this vital alliance hangs in the balance.